All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So, um, this is my first ever video on YouTube, and my name is Victor Ukok, and I write JavaScript. So, I I do I use React and Express, so which means I'm a full stack developer. I I use MongoDB for my databases. So, that's just a little about me. Um, So let's continue. So in this tutorial, I'll just talk about JavaScript objects and how to create objects from um, classes. Although I know classes are just syntactic sugar in JavaScript, but I would like to use it. So let's dive into that. So you need to create a file and just name it anything you want to name it .js. So that's a JavaScript file. So I have done all that, and then so let me start. So what's an object? So an object is a special variable that contains keys and value. So for example, if I want to create a person's object, so now an object contains key and value, and then the value of an object can be it can be um, a string, it can be an integer, it can be a method. I could say let person 1 equals to, and say, so that's an object. So an object can have a name like this, maybe Victor, then language. Language can be um, JavaScript and PHP and Python, sorry. So, and we could have a function like get details. So get details should console.log get details should console.log let me use this. So my name is so we have person1 dot name, and I use, so I could also do person1 dot language to write websites. So let's say that's for example, and then so let me open my terminal. So if I click here and click on new terminal, so I can now run that. So if I say if I console.log out person1, so I say person1 dot name. So in here I come and I say node js classes dot js. So this doesn't print anything. So okay, that's because I didn't save. So we come back, we see Victor, and then if I do person1 dot get details, save, and then come back here and run it, you see my name is Victor and I use JavaScript and Python to write websites. So this is like a simple way of creating websites, creating objects by using object literals. So Creating objects like this is using a method called object literals. So which means you're literally saying name should be Victor, language should be JavaScript, and then get details, you're referring to this particular object. So if I want to create like another object, I would say let person 2 be equal to another object. So that own object is going to have its own details. So of course we could say Ukok, and he does Python and Ruby or JavaScript. Oh, I'm sorry about this. So JavaScript, or maybe he does Go and Ruby, for example. So I could do person 2 dot get details. So if we run and so if we run that, we see that we have two objects we've created, right? So I would like to turn on my autosave at this point, because I don't want to always save each time I change something. So we are literally saying person 2 is already has its values, right? And its methods, and they are already declared, and their values are already known and given. So another way of creating an object. So now we have two different separate objects. If you want to create like 5 objects, it means we are going to write this 5 times. But wouldn't you like a way in which you can write this object once, and you create types of these objects as much as you want to create? So that's simple. So you can do this. If I want to do that, we could use this method named objects.create. So if I can say let person 1 equal to objects.create, then I pass in person there. So I can also create another person, like person 2 equals to object.create. I say person. So we do that. We can now say person 1 dot name should be equal to. So first, we don't really need this. So we don't really need this for now. So we can say person 1 dot name should be equals to Victor. Person 1 dot language equals to maybe Python. Then we can do the same thing for person 2. So person 2 dot name can be equals to Ukok, and then person 2 dot language equals to Python or JavaScript. So if we do that and we run get details, so if we say person 1 dot get details, and we say person 2 dot get details, so if we run that, come back here and we run it, we see my name is Victor and I use Python to write websites. So we have that printed, we have that printed twice. So why is that happening? So person 1 and person 2 are okay. So object.create, we have person 1 dot name, we have person 2 dot name, we have person 1 dot language, we have person 2 dot language. So why am I having this? So let me see. My name is Victor and I use Python to write websites. Okay, so I guess I have to do this down here. Okay, so why I'm getting Victor is because of this place. So I was supposed to use this dot name and this dot language. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so since we are creating new objects using objects.create and we are creating new objects from this person object, so what's this keyword refers to the instance of that object. So for this particular instance, name will equal to this name and language will be equals to this language. For this other instance, which is person 2, this dot name will equal to this name and this dot language will equal to the person 2 language, right? All right, so let's move on. So another way you can create objects in JavaScript is by using the class es6 classes. So if you say class, you say person, then of course we know that every class always has a constructor. So we say constructor, and the constructor is automatically run when once we create an object. So we can say name and language that way. So we now say this dot name should be equals to the name which we are going to pass in. We say this dot language should be equals to language, and then we can now say get details. If we say get details, we can now do what we did the other time, console.log, and then we can now put in here, or I like to use backticks. So hello, my name is so backticks. Okay, so $sign and square brackets, curly braces, sorry. Then it say my name is, so you say this dot name, I write, then you say this dot language. So if you do that, you can now come here and say let person 1 equal to new person with the name Victor and the language JavaScript. You can also say let person 2 equals to new person, and I'll name this person maybe James. Then his favorite language is Go, or I like using Ruby. So of course we have that, and then we can call can always call person1 dot get details as a function. You can call person2 dot get details as a function too. So running this, we see hello, my name is Victor, I write JavaScript. Hello, my name is James, I write Ruby. So this is the basics of JavaScript objects and how you can instantiate them, how you can create new objects from classes, which was introduced to us in es6. So another thing I want to say is that you can have private methods. So let's say, for example, if I did person1 dot language, for example, let's put that, for example, I console.log that out, and I also did that the same thing for person2. So I said person2 dot language. If you run this code, you see we have access to Ruby and JavaScript. But what if I don't want people to have access to this externally, right? So what I will do is I'll try to make this private. So making this private means I have to put a hash symbol before writing this. Okay, I have to write language, and I would say that is going to be language. Sorry, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. So if I do that and I try to run this again, we see undefined for these two, right? But I could now I can make a get and set request. So I could say get language, for example. So get language, I can now console.log the language I want to get, or the language for the person I want to get. So if I want to get language, I would say this dot hash language, right? So then after that, I can now come here and say person1 dot get language, and I could do person2 dot get language, for example. So if I do that and I run it here, you see that we can actually get languages from a function inside here. Now apart from making properties private or not accessible outside directly, we can also make functions or methods private. So for example, this get language, we are accessing it outside, right? So what if I wanted to make this get language private? So that would be just to put that hash symbol before the get language. So if I put that hash symbol and I come and run this, you'd see that after running these two, it says get language is not a function. And of course, I know it's saying I write undefined. Yeah, so I if I put hash here before language and then I come back here and run it, of course you'll see I write JavaScript, I write Ruby, right? But you see that get language is not a function. Why is it not a function? Even if we added hash here, for example, we said hash get language and hash get language, and then we came back here and we ran it, it will still tell you see that this must be declared in an enclosing class. So you can create private functions, and you can create private methods here on creating private methods inside a class. So with that said, this is what can be obtainable using JavaScript objects. So thank you for staying tuned to this class. I hope you have learned one or two things. So if you have any question, you can send it to my email or comment and I'll answer. So thank you very much. See you next time.